My story actually references that earlier European story. CuraLeaf has decided to join a marijuana multi-state operator, pivoting to Hemp-Derived THC. I'll love that. CuraLeaf Holdings was done with hemp. New York-based marijuana multi-state operator had a hemp operation in Lexington, Kentucky. As part of a product line the company had operated since 2018. But as of September 30th, 2023, CuraLeaf had ceased all of its operations related to the manufacturing of these hemp-derived products. Thoughts? Instead of exiting hemp for years, viewed by many in the industry as an unwelcome competitor to strictly regulated marijuana, CuraLeaf would go all in, joining a growing trend among licensed cannabis companies. The first quarter of 2024, with federal marijuana reform efforts not yielding any practical changes, CuraLeaf made a strategic decision for the hemp market, but he reported in filings. Instead of canceling and divesting, CuraLeaf held on to the lease as well as its equipment in Kentucky. On June 24th, they launched an entire product line of hemp-derived THC products under a new Hemp Co. CuraLeaf branded gummies, drinks, and other shelf-stable, intoxicating products, all derived from hemp, thus legal to ship across state lines, are now available via e-commerce mainstream retail channel. As the products are derived from hemp, the company can serve consumers in deep red markets that are traditionally unfriendly to cannabis, such as Texas. Why the change? I can't point to one eureka moment that changed CuraLeaf's mind. Their CEO, Matt Darren, told MJ Biz Daily. After Darren spent time with federal lawmakers in Washington, D.C., the 2018 Farm Bill, partly by accident, legalized a nationwide trend in hemp-derived THC that is legally distinct from marijuana. These facts became undeniable. Hemp is legal. Cannabis is not in the eyes of the federal government. Much as we continue to be industry leaders in advocating for cannabis reform, that was a really revealing viewpoint. CuraLeaf's reversal is part of a growing industry-wide trend, one that represents a significant departure from past practices. In April, the organization sent a letter to the federal lawmakers requesting they close the 2018 Farm Bill loophole, which is credited with unwittingly legalizing a nationwide market in hemp cannabinoids. It hasn't happened, so instead of lobbying for regulations to squash these products, a lot of these MSOs are just starting to jump in. I think they're seeing cookies, etc., and following suit. In addition to CuraLeaf, Chicago-based Green Thumb Industries licensed its Incredibles Edibles brand to hemp-derived manufacturer Herb, according to Forbes reporter Will Yakowitz. The spokesperson for Green Thumb did not respond to MJ Biz Daily's request for comment. Other brands sold in multiple states, Cookies, Jeter, and 1906, also have jumped into the hemp arena. Our philosophy is come on in, the water is fine. Jonathan Miller, a former Kentucky State Treasurer and hemp advocate, told MJ Biz Daily. We welcome more and more people and companies to this coalition. Right now, there are a handful of marijuana companies that are trying to destroy the hemp industry. More marijuana folks that come over to the hemp side, I think the less hostility there will be for both sides of the plant. Let it right attitude toward hemp on Capitol Hill might be waning. In late May, U.S. Rep. Mary Miller, an Indiana Republican, introduced an amendment to the House version of the long overdue Farm Bill that would ban ingestible hemp products. The Republican-controlled House Committee on Agriculture voted to advance a draft Farm Bill with Miller's ban included. Full U.S. House has yet to take up that measure, or has the Democrat-controlled Senate even begun to consider it. Thus, there are legitimate doubts whether the Congress will be able to pass a Farm Bill in 2024 at all, mainly due to the election. In the meantime, the status quo allows hemp-derived THC products to be sold across state lines and online, with certain state-by-state carve-outs and restrictions. That means an opportunity remains for brand expansion that's difficult to resist. Building a global brand. We want our brands and our products to be as widely distributed as possible, as long as it's done the right way, CuraLeaf's Darren said. Looked at this opportunity and we said, this is really compelling. We're in the THC industry, and so we've kind of taken the leap into it. This is really interesting to me. I think it could be interesting, and I'm interested to see what you guys have to say. The federal government has maybe stumbled and opened Pandora's box with this hemp legalization that might never be able to be put back. And last thing I would like to say is I'd like to see hemp industry focused on where hemp can really build value and add value, which is non-toxic oil bases for products, fire-resistant, non-toxic building materials, non-toxic packaging and shipping materials, etc. Really excited to hear what everybody else has to add to this. This is Mathieu St. Germain on a beautiful Monday. The Hyatt 9. Take it away, guys.
I'm with you on all of that, Matthew, as far as that. But this isn't anything new by CuraLeaf. Like CuraLeaf has been selling hemp-derived products forever. So they must be trying to raise some money that they're making this announcement, like, because otherwise, this isn't anything new. You know,
I didn't know. I'm pretty.
They've owned Select since around the beginning of legalization in California. Select has always had hemp-derived products. I know.
Really?
They even got one of those cease and desist letters when the federal government was sending them out for everyone making their medical claims on their packaging.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're in Missouri gas stations and everywhere.
Yeah.
Here as well too.
But I think it's more that they're
get,
entering the THCA space as opposed to just CBD products.
At gas stations.
Gotcha. Yeah. You know, for me, like, news about MSOs is like knowing if McDonald's has released the McRib again. I just don't know. I'm not the target audience.
Oh, man. That's fair.
I mean, look, I think that it validates the opportunity in hemp, and companies are struggling to find ways to increase their top-line revenue. We know that hemp products are a lot less expensive to bring to market, and there's a broader market. And I think a lot of these MSOs banked on either that 3 to 5 years to federal legalization that we talked about earlier today, or
just like they're banking on rescheduling,
or some of these markets opening up at a rate that was quicker than the actual rate that we've seen, because legalization in states subject to the entitlement process and the complications at both a local and state level mean that just because the voters say, yeah, we'd like to have a medical or an adult use program, it doesn't mean you got products on shelves. It takes years and years and years. And so I just think that this validates that there's opportunity in hemp, and it's just another example of companies trying to monetize that opportunity.
Yeah, like here in the state of Missouri, there's only, a certain cap on the number of dispensaries that are allowed to be in the state. And then now this allows them access to all the smoke shops, all the gas stations. Because you can now buy cookies THCA at a gas station or smoke shop here. So that, like you said, broadens the market quite a bit.
Mm-hmm. I just like I said, they've been making hemp products for years, so they obviously must be putting this out there, trying to raise some more money. I know that they view the German market as a very, very, very big opportunity, so I'm willing to bet that that's probably is what's going on here. That's what I'm smelling.
The other thing is that we're seeing a convergence of the underregulated hemp and overregulated cannabis, and there's legislation currently on the table in California, and at some point, I think there are people who are betting on the notion that hemp-derived cannabinoids are going to make their way into the regulated cannabis space. And so with that in mind, it makes a lot of sense for MSOs who are already entrenched in regulated cannabis to figure out ways to have inroads into a hemp-derived supply chain.
Mm-hmm.
I think the hemp market is really showing how we should have processed these cannabis regulations in the first place. If the cannabis market looked like the hemp market, it would be thriving, it would be nationwide. And again, it would really push hemp producers away from trying to game the system and make these smokable and edible products into where the real value for hemp is, which is a replacement for paper products, a replacement for petro-based chemical products, a replacement for building products, and we'd really be seeing more of an add to our country for ways, I think.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. I'm with that. You have any final thoughts on this, Jenny, before we move on?
I don't. It's just a song that never ends. I mean, cannabis operators that couldn't make money pivoted to hemp in 2017, 2018. Here we come again,
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, good for them. Pay those investors back, however, but this sounds like we're reading about a lot of funding rounds today. But
you know what happens if you can't pivot, right? You know what ends up happening?
You die.
No, you have broken ankles.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.